Okay, it's going for 8:30 p.m. on Friday, October 3rd, and I want to keep talking through the topics from the Indivisible What's the Plan call today. I'm having to film late at night on Friday because I'm doing some organizing events over the weekend and I won't have time to film. So if you're watching this on Saturday, Friday Night Me says thank you. Toward the beginning of the meeting today, Ezra was talking about a conversation he had during an interview with a journalist, and they were talking about basically, like, for lack of a better way to phrase it, the 3 stages of democratic resistance. And by democratic here, I specifically mean democratic elected officials, not you and me. So phase 1 was early in the year, basically like before hands off April 5th, when Democrat electeds, and you can say like the DNC or Democrats in Congress, whatever, Democratic leadership on a national level, was telling grassroots resistance groups like Indivisible. It wasn't just Indivisible. There were a number of grassroots groups and individuals who were like, hey, this is a coup. This is authoritarianism. This is a real bad scene. This is not business as usual. And yet we saw from Democratic electeds, at least the leadership, this framing of like, hey, grassroots groups, fuck off. We are the career politicians. We know politics better than you. We, the establishment, understand what to do here. This is business as usual. We're just going to let Republicans fuck shit up, and then they'll piss off the voters, and we'll fix it all in the midterms. This period of the Democratic establishment resistance can be characterized as fecklessness. This was the phase where we heard Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer and a number of other establishment Democrats being like, well, what do you want us to do about it? You didn't vote us the majority, so we can't do anything. Now we just have to wait. A lot of like, nothing we can do as Democrats. Our hands are tied. The Republicans are in charge. And very much this mindset of like, yeah, politics as usual is where Democrats let the Republicans fuck shit up, and they don't fight that hard because they know that when life gets worse for Americans will just turn around and vote them out in the next election. And they were not heeding this growing concern from all kinds of folks, from Indivisible, from Democracy Docket, all kinds of organizations that were like, and legal experts that were like, hey, and authoritarian experts, so I keep adding to the list, we're like, this is not business as usual. We are going to watch our elections come under threat. We are going to watch the Trump regime do terrible, terrible things. And we're concerned about the uber conservative majority on the Supreme Court backing him and how much damage he can do, how much he can dismantle democracy before the midterms. We cannot wait for the midterms. And establishment Democrats were like, you guys are overreacting. So that was phase 1, prior to April 5th, hands off. So phase 2 came after grassroots groups really started organizing, Indivisible especially, and started turning out in force at town halls. During this period, town halls were packed. I couldn't get into one of my senators' town halls. They had an overflow into the hallway, and then they just like broadcast on speakers. We're all crowded into the hallway trying to listen to Ron Wyden. And Republicans would try and cancel their town halls. So Indivisible groups would have these like empty armchair town halls. They would have a guy in a chicken suit or a cardboard cutout or just an empty chair, and that would represent their Republican who's too chicken shit to face his constituents. And these got tons of press. And then we had April 5th, hands off, millions of people. That was the largest single day of protest that had been seen thus far in American history. It was later surpassed by No King's Day, and it will be surpassed once again on No King's Day 2 on October 18th. And what we saw in this period is Democratic establishment electeds move into this phase 2 of resistance, what you could characterize as sort of a performative phase of resistance. Phase 1, complete fecklessness. Phase 2, performative. This is where Cory Booker speaks for more than 24 hours on the floor. This is where suddenly we're seeing establishment Democrats think that they're going to swear in videos and be real edgy and that that's going to stop fascism. Right? This period is basically marked by Democratic establishment officials understanding that their base is riled up. Like, oh shit, they're mad at us. We gotta kind of, take some little baby steps. We got to take some actions to make it seem like we're fighting fascism. And that way they'll leave us, they'll start supporting us again. This is a period at which Chuck Schumer's approval rating is like 17%. The Democratic Party as a whole, it's in the 20s. Democrats themselves don't like the Democratic Party, and establishment elected officials thought that some performative gestures were going to pacify their base. And in this period of time, myself and other people were still saying this, like, hey, you got to give them a cookie. If they do the right thing, then you say, yay, good job, right? I made a whole video like, thank you, Senator Cory Booker, for doing the right thing, even though everybody knows what I think about Cory Booker. Unfortunately, the way that our relationship works with our elected officials is that they represent us. They have to hear from us. It is a relationship. And so we have to, every time they do something good, we have to let them know. Yes, more of this, please. I want more of this. You need to be bigger, braver, bolder. We need to see bigger actions from you. It can't just be that we yell at them when they do something wrong. They have to get direction from us. It's unfortunate that so few of them understand the assignment, but also there are lots of them that do understand they are representing their constituents. And so if they don't know the will of their constituents, they can't act appropriately. So you got to let them know. You got to let them know what you want them to do. But still, we saw a lot of corporate establishment Democrats who they still really, really, really wanted it to be business as usual. Like, let the Republicans fuck up the whole country, and then they can pretend like they're going to sweep in and fix shit, right? Let all of the voters in this country suffer so that they will get pissed off enough to vote for the other party in the midterms. That's their whole fucking plan. It's a terrible plan. It's a terrible plan. This is why I cannot stand establishment corporate Democrats. I will get behind progressive ones who want to change the party any day of the week. This is why I advocate for a Tea Party takeover of the party. Anyway, so this was phase two. It was not enough. It was performative. It was gestures. It was the Democratic establishment understanding that the base was far more pissed off than they had given them credit for during phase one, right? They understood that their base was mad, but instead of listening to the concerns of their base and taking appropriate action, they were like, how can we just get them to chill out and still stick to our original plan? So greater awareness, but also still not doing the right things, performative gestures that were never going to stop fascism. And then that, of course, built growing resentment from the Democratic electorate who are like, why don't you understand how bad this is? Why are you not fighting? Myself and loads of other creators were like, where is Democratic leadership? Why are they so passive, submissive? Where are the fighters? Why are they trying to gaslight us? Are we taking crazy pills? Why are they acting like this is not as big of a deal as it obviously is? Why are they telling us there's nothing they can do? So you saw more organization. We saw grassroots groups popping up all over the country. We saw more and more people being outspoken against what the regime is doing, right? And so there is this really visible display of more and more Americans getting pissed off. There is tons of polling data showing that Trump is deeply unpopular. He is underwater on every single issue. And then Democratic electeds were getting tons of feedback from their constituents. Like, why the fuck aren't you fighting for us? We want you to do more. We want you to grow a spine and figure out how to stand up. We are exhausted having to push you on every single issue, and still you don't do enough. I covered this a while back, but there was reporting that there were Democrats in Congress who were upset that their constituents were like, you should be willing to get arrested. You should be willing to do what it takes to stand up against fascism. Stop being a bunch of spineless little cucks who are letting Republicans dismantle our democracy and stand up and fight for us. And there was a bunch of bitching from Democratic politicians like, how dare they ask this much of me? But then we saw Senator Van Hollen. And then after that, we saw my Congresswoman and we saw my Congresswoman Maxine Dexter with Robert Garcia, Yasmin Ansari, and Maxwell Frost went to El Salvador. And Democratic voters were like, fuck yeah, more of this, more of this. We want big, visible public pushback against the regime. We want y'all to get the attention of the press. We want big, showy moves. We want you to be taking risks on behalf of democracy because our nation is imperiled. The future of this democracy is in peril. It's because we keep pushing that they keep taking bigger risks, right? So now we have reached the government shutdown on September 30th. And this is where, I agree with Ezra. Maybe we've entered into phase 3, which is actual opposition. Maybe the Democratic Party can be an actual opposition party against fascism. Actually partner with their constituents and grassroots groups to stop fascism. Ezra said this, we must welcome leaders and politicians on this journey as they progress to stage 3, which is full opposition. We have to buck up and support our Democratic electeds who are arriving at stage 3. Have to show them we are behind them when they are willing to actually oppose fascism. So make it your mission, call once a day. Tell them stay strong, hold the line. This is what we want to see from you. Do not back down on the shutdown. The American people are behind you. You are doing the right thing. You're late to the party, but better late than never. Thanks for being here and standing up with us. continue to hold the line.